she immediately blew it simply because she equivocated on the war. She thinks that we should support the troop buildup in Afghanistan because the president asked for it, and blah, blah, blah. When she got the sort of things back that I'm sure you would direct at anybody who made that sort of an outlandish statement, she then tried to equivocate but would not back down from that position. She has not really been out there in the trenches. She's not really been working. She loaned her campaign $12,000. My campaign treasurer has access to all the FEC filings, of course. We all do. You do. You can go online and see all the filings. Her $12,000 was gone in 1 month. What did it go for? Landscaping, gardening. So she has no money whatsoever. She loaned herself $12,000 and then it was gone. And it was not for any kind of campaign use. She has occasionally come out, usually when she's read about an event on my calendar on my website, which is why we don't update my calendar much anymore. She's then shown up and said, oh, well, I'm running too, I'd like to speak too. And then, you know, and the latest example up in this area, I was asked to speak to the Modesto, the Democratic Club. I don't know if anybody was there at Fuddruckers a couple months ago. And I spoke for a while, and then this little hand went up in the back and said, well, I'd like to speak too. Taylor White, you know Taylor White? Taylor ran for the 25th Assembly, and he was outgoing president. And he said, oh, sure, what are you running for? I said, oh, I'm running for Congress. And he said, what district? Oh, the 19th, too. And it was really interesting because he had to ask, and she had to. And she then got up and began by saying, oh, he can talk, can't he, about me? And it's like, okay, well, thank you. Is that a compliment? I'm not quite sure. And then she spoke for a couple of minutes and said nothing. And so I'm not really terribly concerned about any sort of a primary challenger.
I think we met one at the OFA, didn't we?
That may have been her.
Deidre?
Wasn't
there? What is this person's name?
Her name is Lorraine Goodwin. Dr. Lorraine Goodwin.
Was she at the OFA camp? There was somebody there. She was introduced. Nikki introduced her as the person that was running against Les.
Yeah. She came in at late, around noon.
I don't know who she was.
Did she come late to that too? She's come late to every single event. We had a candidate training event in Fresno, and we were all there, and it was like, you know, T.J. Cox, who ran for the seat 4 years ago, and a lot of people like that. And 45 minutes in, then she kind of came in, and she's a very unique person, very interesting person. She's about 10 years older than me, and she was dressed very interestingly.
Yeah.
I will say simply not really wearing anything appropriate for her age or a potential congressperson.
She should run for cover.
Well, nobody's really quite sure what she's doing. The reaction that usually happens when she shows up at one of these things is people will say, what is that woman doing?
Yeah.
To me.
She's
I would say it outright.
trying to disrupt.
What are you talking about?
I have no idea. Well, but to get things back to me, my favorite subject. Do you have any other questions?
So what about the general?
Yeah, the general.
The general is going to be fascinating. What I'm really hoping and praying for is it goes to Pombo. Pombo would be the greatest gift to our campaign. I've already been contacted by national environmental organizations that have intimated that if Pombo were to attempt to get this seat, money would flow in. I mean, as you know, 4 years ago, Jerry McNerney was able to defeat him with the money that came in from $3 million from national environmental organizations. I am a lifelong environmentalist. Now, some of my positions are perhaps a little difficult for some environmentalists because they become issues of agriculture and water against what is traditionally environmental. But that aside, you really have to take a pragmatic approach in this area. My first defense will be the Delta. The Delta must be preserved, and that simply goes without saying. We cannot harm the Delta. We must strengthen and preserve the health of the Delta, period. So I'm really hoping that Pombo gets it because I cannot wait to use, can you imagine Yosemite in the hands of Pombo? Oh. Can you imagine? The man who tried to sell off, to privatize 25% of our national parks.
It'll look like Colorado.
Getting his hands on Yosemite.
Yeah. Have you ever been to Colorado where they have what should be national monuments and parks, and it's all concessions, and I mean, it's just awful.
Well, and the reason that I live where I live is because of my great love for the outdoors and my great love for Yosemite. I mean, I've been all over the world. There's nothing in my estimation. They wouldn't let me actually live in Yosemite Valley when I came back, and so we bought property at the same elevation, at 4,000 feet, with the same topography. We have everything except the waterfalls. And so it speaks to me. It's in my soul. It's in my nature. It's in my spirit. And I will fight to the dying breath to keep Yosemite out of the claws of Richard Pombo. I'm hoping, for that reason, that he will get the Republican nod, because he will be, you know, the greatest gift to our campaign possible.
So we should all sign up for his campaign.
Oh, yes, support Richard Pombo. Go, Richard. So that's how I'm looking at the race on the right. And it's quite interesting what's going on there. Radonovich has lost so much cachet, if he ever had any, that, you know, he anointed Jeff Denham as his successor to be. But then when Pombo got into it, well, so many of his pledged endorsers of Denham just said, oh, sorry, I didn't know Pombo was going to run. I'm withdrawing my endorsement of Denham. Well, you don't do that to, you know, the sitting congressman's designated successor within your own party. You don't do that. Patterson, in Fresno, Patterson is fairly right-wing, very conservative religious, and he's not without his own baggage. And Larry Westerland, who is on the Fresno City Council, doesn't live in the district. It's interesting because of all the names out there, I'm the only one, between me and, on the left and Jim Patterson are the only ones that live in the district, aside from Dr. Goodwin, who moved to Madera, so now she lives in the district. But, you know, of all of those, carpetbaggers is what they are. They are all, you know, political opportunists trying to get their next job by serving in the 19th. And of course the Constitution does not require you to live in the House, the district that you want to represent. So you don't have to, that's how Tom McClintock was able to carpetbag up to Sacramento. But we do not want that happening in the 19th. And Pombo has already said, oh, well, the 19th, you know, I know the Central Valley, and the 19th is just the Central Valley. Well, that's not true. The western portion is the Central Valley. The entire eastern portion is Yosemite. It's the High Sierra, and we've got to protect that from Pombo.
May I ask a question? I'm
Yes.
sorry, I hope I'm not asking something that's been asked because I wasn't here. Are you gonna be a blue dog?
No, no. And I already made that point very clear.
Okay,
No,
okay,
no.
sorry.
Absolutely refuse.
Because that's
no.
real important to us.
No, I know. And I have to be very, very careful because I am not going to defend or attack Dennis for his positioning.
No, there's no need to attack people.
No.
What's needed is solid, positive proposals and sticking to it, sticking to the point and being forceful and sticking to your story and get your story very simple and just keep pounding away at it.
And I will ask, do you feel that I've done that tonight?
Yes.
And that's what I'm all about. I'm not about equivocation. I'm about reaching an informed position and selling it.
This is, I don't know if this is a question, I hear your clear positions and I resonate with the passion, and then I just know that people get like bought off, and so I don't want to insult you. I mean, that,
No. I understand your question.
yeah.
Ah.
I just, it's like, God, I hope that, I mean, it would be, you know, I can picture Ira, my husband, and me doing a little pounding the pavement in Dutch Hollow in Modesto, because we're little carpetbaggers from LA, you know, ourselves, but we now live here for 6 months.
Well,
I can
Utah,
picture
too.
myself.
Tell you're from Utah. That'll sell better.
Yeah, with 3 years in Utah, and
Just
then,
don't talk about where you're from.
yeah. But here we are in Dutch Hollow. I can picture myself knocking on doors for you because of, and this is, you know, I've been, you know, decades of stuff, you know, with Walter Mondale and, you know, but I would do it for you.
Thank you.
But I don't want you to get then bought off or corrupted or, you know.
Because then we
there
know where
go.
you live.
I have to tell you, you would know where I live, but I would not be able to live with myself.
You wouldn't be home?
No,
We'll take you and your refrigerator out.
yeah, Josh knows where I live. Although, you know, it is funny that damn refrigerator needs repair once a year, and then I have to keep buying